Listen, 99% of people wake up, go to the local Starbucks, get their $7 pumpkin spice matcha latte, whatever they do, wait in line for 30 minutes in the drive-thru, drive to a job they absolutely hate for 8 hours straight, go home, eat dinner, repeat the process every single 5 days. You got a weekend, now you're back and doing the same thing. By the end of the month, you are absolutely broke. You are stuck working 40 hours a week and you hate your life. Now, if you look at a smart, sexy, amazing, tall person like me with a full head of hair, you know that I wake up and I do maybe a couple hours of work a week. I mean, probably 5 hours a week most in my wholesaling space, and I'm absolutely jacked and rich. Now, it might be like, how is this 25-year-old making millions of dollars, thousands of wholesaling deals a year, while only working 5 hours a week, and you're stuck on ramen noodle money? Well, the truth is, I know how to scale my operations. I know how to get ahead of 99% of wholesalers by working way less than them, because I know the hacks and the cheats to become successful in wholesaling. Now, if you want to stay broke the rest of your life, scroll out this video. There's plenty of wholesaling courses that will take your money, teach you how to get into the game for 10 grand, and you have nothing. But if you want to keep going here and actually want to start making a business that makes millions of dollars without spending countless hours just in the rat wheel and the hamster wheel of wholesaling, you're in the right video. So it's really important to frame that I make more money than most wholesalers, not because I work harder than them, but I have better systems than them. And I'm doing more deal volume and more revenue because I know to effectively use my time the right way to give it and delegate it to other people. This process is similar as I'll call, who's the bald-headed guy that's good with computers? Jeff Bezos. So we're gonna use JB, not Justin Bieber, but Jeff Bezos as an example. Jeff Bezos is not going out here and delivering mail, those little packages to everyone's doors. He hires an army of like 17,000 people per city to go out here and drive to the person to deliver the package. But Jeff Bezos gets the money, then he pays the people to do the work for him. That's why he is a billionaire upon billionaire. Elon Musk is not going out here and building cars by himself. Okay, he's not building those little electric cars all by himself. Yes, this is what I think a Tesla car looks like because I'm not good at it. But what Elon Musk gets is people give him money for a car. He pays people to go work on the car to make it, to give to the said person. He is not doing the actual work. Now, of course, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos works a lot more than 5 hours a week. I get it. I actually run multiple businesses, so I'm not like sitting around playing Nintendo Switch in a corner all day. But I've effectively fired myself out of my own company. I have COOs, head of operations, head of dispo, acquisitions that do all the hard work for me. Now, you can't be at that point starting out, but it's pretty easy to get to there if you know what you're doing. Now, the point is, the person at the head is making the high-level decisions. You get all the glory, and you make your workers do all the work. It's effectively what we're gonna do here. Now, if you look at a tale of two wholesalers, right? You have the broke one and the rich one. You're gonna find that the broke wholesaler is always stressed out. Their mind, they're like crying all day because they have to be on the phones for 40 hours a week. They have to go produce all the leads themselves solo. They need to go on all the appointments. And then after they lock up deals, they need to do all the follow-up themselves and they need to dispo the deal. And they are stressed out of their mind trying to get one deal a month, which honestly is not a bad play. I'm not complaining. This guy's not like crying because he's making $120,000, $140,000 a year, but he's kind of stuck right now. He's like, I'm constantly going from one deal to the next deal to the next deal versus someone who's rich, who's going to be like all happy and go lucky and be like, oh yeah, I'm doing great. Where he might be working 20 hours a week. Now it's not even 5, but 20, let's say that. And he has an army of cold callers who are going to be doing all the calling for him. He will hop on the sales calls inside the CRM and get deals locked up. And he will actually do the dispo because he already has his cash buyers. But you already could see that most of the work is on the lead generation side. So if you could hire VAs at maybe $6 an hour to do your cold calling for you and use a service like X Leads, which has all the skip tracing, dialer, Teams, triple line dialer, stuff like that. I'm gonna write it here, X Leads. Everyone should get X Leads. So just go to xleads.com to sign up for X Leads, but you could be incredibly efficient with your time by just getting rid of the least productive tasks, which marketing is the most productive task, but it's the easiest task to hire out to somebody, especially in the Philippines. So $6 an hour is one of the best investments you can make, just hiring VAs do all the calling for you. You can even use AI to do all the texting for you. But you should understand that wholesaler 1 and wholesaler 2 are maybe making the same money, but one's working way less than the other. and you're not stressed, you're not crying, you're not on the phones all dang day, just stressed out of your mind. You're actually living a life which is a lot more enjoyable. So that's what we call the power of delegation. Now, to get to the point where you're working 5 hours a week, you're going to get to the point where you're working 10 hours a week, then the point where you're working 20, then the point where you're working 40. And then before that, you got to be at the point where you're working 80 hours a week. You got to remember, this is like Mario Kart, Call of Duty Prestige, insert your favorite video game here. But it's a game. It's a level game like a video game. You have to level up first. You have to get from level 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, then 3 to 4, and then 4 to 5. You cannot go from level 1 all the way to 5 instantly. You need to level up. You need to go through the hero's journey. You need to know what works, what doesn't work, and going through all these processes. This is the point. You can't just start working 40 hours a week in this business and expect to be at 5 hours the next week. You need to effectively get really good at what you're doing and hire out one thing every single time. So the problem is when you level up, you're going to have to spend that cheddar, that young moolah, that guap, that guacamole, whatever the kids call it now. But every single time that you level up to spend less time, you're going to have to spend more money in the business. Like I've said before, there's two currencies in wholesaling real estate. There is time and there is money. Now, what you want is to make a ton of time. Now, what you want is you don't want to work too much. So you want low amount of time in a business and you want a high amount of money. Now, unfortunately, when you get started in wholesaling, you're putting a lot of time in and you're not making a lot of money. And then sometimes you're making a lot of money, but you're putting a lot of time in. The real key here is to be making a stupid amount of money while not working too much. And unfortunately, you're going to have to be super unbalanced to get to this point. Now, it's really unfair and unbalanced that I can make millions of dollars and just work 5 hours a week. That's not fair. I completely understand that. That's really unbalanced. It's not fair. But what also wasn't fair when I was working 15 hours a day, just eating dirt and mud out the trenches and working my way up to actually make money and make a real business that's scaling. So I was super unbalanced in the beginning because I was just throwing so much time and effort in this business, but I wasn't making like a stupid amount, like millions of dollars. But now I'm super unbalanced where I'm making millions of dollars and not putting a lot of time. So you got to remember, it's kind of like a counterbalance switcheroo. All right, where in the beginning, it sucks. It's a ton of time, not a lot of money. Then you start making more money, but you're putting more time in, and then you can finally get yourself out of the business and delegate it the correct way. Elon Musk is kind of doing the same thing. Jeff Bezos was packing boxes when he started Amazon, right? So that's exactly what we got to do to level up here. So we got to start level 1. Again, this is where we spend $0 in this business, but we're putting a ton of time in. Now we get our first wholesaling deal. We might get 15, 20 grand from that deal. Then we can start buying a dialer, getting X leads, going to xleads.com, actually getting unlimited free skip tracing, e-signing tools like that. And then we can start hiring VAs. Then we get into 20 hours a week. Then we get acquisitions managers, then dispositions managers and operations managers. And now we're at 5. That's effectively what every level is. So level 1 is doing everything solo, right? So I'm going to write solo on here. Level 2 is when we start hiring VAs to do your calling for you. Maybe you're getting some tools like X leads and softwares. At 20, you're adding channels and more VAs at volume. You're doing everything at volume, but everything's scaled out where all you're really doing between you and me is you're just doing acquisitions and dispo. At 10, you're really getting rid of acquisitions and dispositions. Again, each market's a little different. Then at 5, you have a whole COO running pretty much everything. And you're kind of on the sidelines, making sure everything's running the right way. And the whole point here, and I want to make you really understand this, the point of working 5 hours a week is not for you to go out here and be an absolute bum with your life. Now, I had a choice. I could be 25 years old, just sitting around waiting to rot like an 80-year-old retired man. But again, I didn't really get to the top in the wholesaling game by just being a lazy bum that just wanted to get out of this business when I started making some money. I always wanted to make a lot more. Not because I'm an evil, egotistical maniac, but I just want to be one of the top wholesalers in the entire country. And what I did was I spent that 5 hours, I had a week. I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? So I figured out how to teach people wholesaling for free, which is pretty cool. So I'm able to do that pretty much like a charity basically, but give it all for free. Then I went out here and created a wholesaling software, which took a lot of time, but now I was able to implement the operations people, the marketing, customer service and a whole development team that's way smarter than me with this stuff, and got myself out of that business. Now that business is making a ton of money. And now I'm going back and doing more JVs and more deals and really scaling everything up even better in wholesaling, right? So the point here is you're able to get yourself out of the business so you can create more businesses, then get yourself out of that business and keep doing it. And you're just making money with each one you're doing, right? So you just got to understand, to level up, it's pretty simple. First, a solo. Remember, you're all by yourself. You're doing this solo. It's all you. Drawing for dollars, reverse drawing for dollars, government list, all the stuff we teach at freewholesaling.com, my free real estate wholesaling course. Then you're going to start implementing VAs, even just buying tools with no VAs, then VAs, upping the marketing channels, doing texting, a ton of more volume. Maybe at this point you have 3 people or 4 people in a triple line dialer. You have AI for your SMS, virtual assistants doing all the work for you on the marketing side. Then you hire an acquisitions person because you just can't go on enough appointments. Then you hire a COO to hire the acquisitions managers and the dispositions managers. And now you have a full-blown multi-million-dollar company. That's the goal. But you should get there, maybe do 1 level every year. So in 5 years, that's a pretty good plan. It took me about 4 or 5 years to get to there. And I think you can easily do it the same way, right? Make 100 grand your first year, make 150, 200 the next year, 400 grand the next year, 600 grand, and then up to $1 million at that 5th level. It's a great path to make millions of dollars by working less and less every single year. Now, there's a point here. I want you to be making millions of dollars working 80, 100, a million hours a week. Like, the whole point of this is not for you to go kill yourselves working that hard. Now, in the beginning, it's a requirement. It's pretty much a must, something you have to do. But that is not the goal. It is really, really not fun and unhealthy to work that much. Okay, as someone that was working 14, 15 hours a day, I was a young buck. I was a teenager in this game. Like, I was willing to do it. I wasn't particularly like enjoying every moment of my life, but I was making more money every single month. And so I wasn't really complaining about it. But if I had to keep that pace up, I don't know where I would be. So hard work's great, but working 15 hours a day will definitely suck the soul out of you if you don't have a passion for this business. Now, some other secrets I could tell you about scaling out that no one wants to tell you, but really focusing on the data is going to help you scale your company so much. And using automations the right way, especially with AI. Like, I was able to pretty much offboard my entire SMS operations to one person who sends the text out and then AI that answers the texts. Then when the text is somebody that's interested, it just gets thrown right into my CRM where my acquisitions managers handle it. And I don't really have to be touching it at all. So if you're working 40 hours a week and you're only doing SMS, right? Throwing the text out there, having the AI determine if they're motivated or not through just texting, the AI texting itself. You can work a full-time job where you go to work at 9 a.m., you send all the text out at like 8:30, you drip it out for the day, right? 100 per hour, maybe do 1,000 texts for 10 hours. You come home from work and now you have 3 motivated seller leads to call during the day. Way cheaper than a PPL. Even though I like PPL now, the automation's insane and you don't have any VAs involved. You don't have any acquisitions managers involved. You legit have just you and pretty much X leads. So again, the system I use for that is xleads.com. Again, not because I'm trying to plug it, but it's literally the only software that I know that does that at a price that's under $100 a month. So highly recommend that. Now, another important part too, I could tell you with the scaling is one of the best things I've ever done was start joint venturing. I mean, I would not be anywhere near 1,000 deals a year in wholesaling if it wasn't for JVing, because I was really, really good at wholesaling and I had an elite cash buyers list and people would just send me deals and I would have my team work maybe 2 hours dispoing it and we get half the deal, which is one of the best deals I've ever found. And for a beginner who can't dispo a property, it's a great deal for them because they can't get a dispo too. So going out here and making 12, 14, 15 grand on a deal, we split 50-50, making 7 grand for 2 hours when you're hiring someone at 10, 20% of the commissions, like, it's an amazing operation, an amazing way to make a ton of money in this business. And I can tell you the easiest way to scale out is it's really simple to go out here and scale out your marketing and getting leads, because you just pay more money to produce more leads and do more calls, texts, buy more PPL leads. But you need to master the dispo part, because that's when things start breaking. If you don't have good dispo operations and you don't have a good buyers list, if you have a bunch of leads, it's gonna be hard to sell them, right? It's really easy to ramp up leads. It's kind of harder to ramp up dispo if all you're focusing on is leads, even though marketing is the king here. So again, having a whole dispositions team when you're scaling out is gonna be important. I use XLeads for my dispo software, but it's one of the best ways to go out here and get an unfair advantage. So that's how you start making more money while working way less. It is a simple leveling up video game system. You go from working 80 hours a week to 40 to 20 to 10 to 5 by hiring out and delegating one level at a time. And so if you are starting out from the beginning, get that first deal. then invest in systems to make more money, and then keep the process going. Wholesaling real estate is a legit, real legal business. And how every real, legit legal business is, it's always the founder doing everything himself, then he gets people to help him with the job, he reinvests in the company and just keeps growing and growing and growing. Now, I don't tell you to reinvest in coaching, I just say just get a software, a tool to help you grow it even more, and you're gonna be having a ton of success in this business. Guys, if you wanna learn more, join my free real estate wholesaling course and community, freewholesaling.com. If you got any value from this video, do me a favor, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out. Have a blessed one.